So welcome to the first edition of Talking Tigers here at the new Barrack Tavern, the pub of choice for the Speedway fan. With me I've got Josh Bates, I've got Paco Castagna, and I've got David Bellego. So we're going to have a chat about a few things Tigers related, and hopefully, if it goes down well, we'll be back for some more. So just going back to the start of the season, because you've all come at this season from different angles. Josh, you had a good season with Sheffield last year, won the British Under-21 Championship. Paco, you were riding around in Europe, getting some valuable experience over there.
Yeah.
And David, you were riding at Barrack and getting some great scores here at Sheffield, which is one of the reasons why you're here now, because you were the best away rider at Sheffield last season, even better than Thomas Jorgensen, which takes some doing around Sheffield. So when we came to put the team together at Sheffield, obviously Josh was one of the first names that we wanted to bring in. You didn't want to come to Sheffield at one point, did you?
Nah, I just didn't. I don't know. I just alright, sure. I didn't. I felt like there was a lot of pressure from people, and then I was like, I didn't know whether to like go somewhere else or stay at Sheffield. But I'm really glad that I stayed at Sheffield, because now I got the track dialed in. I'm getting the track dialed in, slowly, steadily. But I just thought, beginning of the meeting, beginning of last year, I thought I'm never gonna get it right. But then eventually, this season, I'm getting there.
You're getting there, all right. Yeah, you got 16 points last week, so that's impressive. And Paco, your name has been bandied around between the guys at Sheffield for, well, all the time we've been involved with it. Since we bought the club, we've been talking about Paco Castagna. Eventually we got you here.
Yeah.
So it's great to have you here. Welcome to Sheffield.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming, but you've not ridden Sheffield before the Dudley match, really, had you?
Yeah.
And not really ridden much in England up to now.
Yeah, well, that was the first time, really. I only did Kings Lynn the World Cup last year, and it wasn't really good. I didn't score many points, and it was really tough for me. I didn't come with the right equipment, but then I tried the first time in the second half, and then Bradley, and it was all good, to be honest. I really enjoyed the track, and it's a bit difficult because it's a bit different from the one I usually ride at home, but
yeah.
I'm trying to get it sorted with the equipment I have, and I think in the next few weeks will be all good. Even with the help of the other riders in the team, which are trying to help me and get the setup sorted and everything, all the lines mainly. We are getting there, and I think already from Thursday, tomorrow will be a good meeting to try those things and try to get some points in the bag.
Yeah. And David, you're settled into Sheffield now after your time at Glasgow and Barrack before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You enjoying yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if I moved on, it's because I like this track, and well, it was, as you said, last year I went to Sheffield, and I already had a good time in Sheffield, so I just saw myself what it would be better for me, maybe to move a bit healthier, and especially riding in this track every Thursday, it's nice, and I really enjoy it. I just had this bad injury to begin with this year, but start to recover with on it, and I'm happy as well. The team doing good, and we have a quite good team spirit. It's just a bit shame we had this many injuries.
We'll come on to that, because at the start of the season the team looked really strong, and we set off really, really well. For the first month, Sheffield were unbeaten, home and away. We won everywhere. Won at Scunthorpe, which we did last season, to be fair, but then we won at Rye House, which was something that nobody ever expected. And unfortunately, in that meeting, both yourself and Simon got injured, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just a bit shame, because Steady is one of the fastest guy in Premier League, and he was just a really good number one, and we lost him. And this, I would say, unlucky crash, because he fought in the front end. Well, if I could avoid him, I'd have beat him, but I couldn't avoid him, and we had a body clash together. And lucky for me, I'm back, but he's still injured, and that's shame for him, and it's shame for the team as well, because we were going so well. But it's been a few things as well. Burks, Ashley broke his shoulder in Glasgow. Ty had to go home. Visa problem, and
And we've got Andre injured now. of course.
Andrew injured as well, but if you think about it, I think the promotion did them best, to try to, cover them riders, and at the end of the day, I think the team's still doing not too bad, and I think as far as we know, we're in the playoff, so we're looking forward and we try to make the best of it.
Seems to be an awful lot of injuries this year. Is that something from a rider's perspective you can think of why that's happening?
Not really, no. I just think it's a little bit harder just this year in general, because I think this year the tracks are a bit more grippier than what I've ever seen anyway. I think the grippiest tracks I've ever rode this year, so that may be causing. I just think people are just very unlucky this year. It's just one of them things, like, it's Speedway, it happens, people do get injured, so that everybody knows the risk they're taking when you jump on your bike. So
yeah, I mean, you had a few bad injuries last year, didn't you? Did your back?
Yeah, I broke my back last year and my shoulder popped out twice, but it's just one of them things you gotta just live with, and I think more injuries, you get more injured when you take more risks, and you're going to take more risks because you want to win more races.
Yeah. Well, we still got a team together, which is great news. We've just signed Nikolai Clint. Andre's obviously out. Nikolai rode at Workington on Saturday, and he's promised us he's going to be right on the nail this week against Scunthorpe. So that should be good. Getting him in the team.
Yeah, Nikolai said in the changing rooms that it was a bit of a rush kind of thing for him, coming from when he was riding in Germany. He had no bikes or no equipment really for Workington, so he didn't have a proper engine, to be fair to him. So that's why he struggled a bit when we were at Workington. But like he said, he's going to get everything sorted, and this Scunthorpe, when we're against Scunthorpe this Thursday, should be Nikolai who we know.
And then it was also one of the first meetings from the injury, so it's fair play to him that he did those points.
Yeah.
And he was doing quite good. Just came back from an injury. It could have been even worse. So I think he was doing good.
Yeah.
Good. And to be fair to Sheffield, we're in a good position in the playoffs. We've only really lost to the top teams this season. We've not had any disasters against anybody lower down, so I think we've got to be quite pleased with the way things are going. One thing I didn't mention, of course, is Jason coming into the team. That must have made things a little bit crazier than they already were.
Yeah, with Jason, he is very good to have on the team, because he gets everyone going, he gets everyone thinking, and fair to him, I wasn't expecting Jason to go this well around Sheffield, because he's always been a small track man, around Riles and stuff, and then this year I don't know where he's got his speed from. He's just going quick, getting double figures everywhere he goes, so fair play to him.
And you obviously get on well with him.
Yeah, I get on really well with Jason. We're just really close, we look out for each other on track. Jason don't look out for many people, but he looks out for me. So.
You mean opposition riders?
No, home team riders don't look out for just looks out for me.
I mean, last week was a classic. The celebration after your 5-1 was something to behold. Referee didn't like it, but it was good fun.
But you got to do things like that because the crowd pays in to see action, the fun. So me and Jason just did a bit of fun for the crowd. So.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's all about entertainment, and most of the Sheffield fans really want David to miss the gate, because one of the things that we love to see is you coming from behind and splashing around the board.
Mine, but
no.
To begin with,
you'd rather just go and.
But
it's a lot easier when you make the gate.
Yeah, it's easier when you're on the front to begin with, but
But what is it that makes some riders able to do that? Some riders are able to come from behind very spectacularly, like yourself, and then there are other riders who I won't mention now who, if they don't make the gate, they'll last. What is it about you that makes it different?
Excuse my French, but it depends how big your balls are. In other words, that kind of thing.
To be fair, I think it's more I think how you're racing right now, people need to make a good gate to be on the front. People really don't mind just to be at the back, and because they've got a good racing mind and they can pass and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the world champion from last year is Greg Hancock, and I hardly see him missing games. So,
It's definitely the way to make money, isn't it?
Yeah.
money and successful as well.
Speedway now, it's mainly about
The start.
the start.
Especially
Mainly.
Surely it's the 80% of it.
Maybe not Sheffield, because Sheffield you can just run them. You can just run your bike into that air fence and just. And it does take a lot to pass someone at Sheffield, but mainly it's about the start. Really.
And that's one thing I figured out, like in the last 2 meetings, that everybody. I always heard that in England you always have home track advantage, and when I came to Sheffield, the first few meetings, like even last week, it was tough. Like those home track advantage, I think like that track, home track advantage you have it in other tracks, but in Sheffield it's really tough. Because you really get, if you have like an opponent team which have riders that really like the track, you see them passing. So that's why even Sheffield meetings are so nice to watch.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the crowd is so pleased in it.
I think it's pretty much about the shape as well, because it's like in England, most of the English track are a bit square, small track. So as we said, if you miss getting a small track, it's harder to pass people in Ipswich or Edinburgh or Newcastle, because it's so one line, and which is good to learn, because it's like make you. That's why that's why like I think that's why all the European guys come to England, because it's like a good learning track, like technical wise and stuff. But as we say, if you miss getting Sheffield, you can get away with it, like trying outside and having a racing mind. You can make different line and passes. But if you go like I was saying, even in Barrack, I rode in Barrack last year, and Barrack is a good track. I like Barrack; it's a really good track, but it's a bit the kind of track. It's a bit one line. You can pass. I've been passing in Barrack, and I've seen people passing me as well in Barrack, so you can pass. But it's one of the track, like it's pretty much one line going in the corner, like on a small track. Like Josh know, same, and Paco haven't been there yet, but he will see what it is later on. But that's why Sheffield, I would say, is one of the nicest track in England, because you can raise the track a bit like in Europe, as Paco or Josh had the experience this year with 121 qualification. When you go to big track like in Poland, Denmark, Sweden, is wider, is more line. I would say the grip is different story, because I would say
I feel like it's a bit more
drier,
sandier.
Yeah,
Like
it's because the weather over here, there's so many rain all the time.
Yes.
So in base wise it's wet. So as soon as you start to repeat up with the track, you make a good grip. Like in Sheffield, like George says, when you grab the grip, you don't know if you grab it or if he grab you, because he's pulling you away.
Yeah, I noticed it. I noticed it when I did the second half. I think some people watched it. I don't know if they enjoyed it. I didn't. I didn't enjoy it at all. Wasn't so good, but yeah. That's all. I just need to figure out how to get into it, and then how to ride it. And once you learn, like that's one thing. Like we are, talking jokes between me and him, that I will teach him how to wheelie when he gets a hit win, and he will teach me how to ride the lines in Sheffield, because now he got it figured out. And so it's just more like mainly in this track is to figure out how to ride the lines in the dirt.
When Paco first came in, I said to him, Sheffield's really easy to ride. It is one of the easiest tracks to ride, but it's hard to go fast on.
Yeah.
And I told Paco that, and Paco, I didn't think he believed me. He like giggled to himself, and then he realises now.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But it does take some time to get used to the tracks, doesn't it? I mean, you're in your third season now, and you must be just starting to get used to some of these tracks.
Yeah, I like some tracks. I still now, like I've never been to Birmingham, or I've never been to Bellevue, where I am tomorrow. I've never been to tracks like that, but you never go to tracks, and it does take a lot, because you like Sheffield's took me a year to get going around here, a year and a bit, because you need right setups and just right everything really, right engines, and that's just England. All tracks are different in England.
Once you've been to a track once or twice, do you start to get used to it? Is that something that you
not used to it, but you learn from the previous time? Because I it was my first away meeting at Workington, and now if I'm going back there, I already know what kind of setup to start with. I already made mistakes last week, and now I learn from that mistakes and learn the setup and the lines. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like once you go there a few times.
I would say away from Sheffield, Walkington is quite an easy track to ride because you never been to Edinburgh,
that's good.
Newcastle, Ryhouse, track like that.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much where you're from, you know what I mean? Like for my situation, I'm French. I started in grass track because grass track is more famous in France than Speedway, and it's like riding track from 500 meters to 800, so it's always bigger. And when I came to Edinburgh or stuff like that, I was like, how I'm gonna turn here? And it's from my personal, experience. It's hard for like personal opinion, I would say, to ride on a small track for myself because I'm not used to it. And when you ride most of the time bigger track, when you go to smaller one, it's a bit harder. That's why I was happy when we went to Newcastle. The team, I scored 7 points. The team won. That was really good, you know what I mean? Because for me, I always came to Newcastle, and it was quite hard for me to score some points. So when we've been there, with the team, and especially the team won, and I scored a few points as well. So it was quite a nice moment. But as Paco says, it's like more where you use from. Like Paco is riding European track, which is a bit more like dry and slick.
Well, I'm used to a really slick track. So when I came here to Sheffield and I did the second half and around the boards, there was like this much of grip, and I tried to catch it that well. Everybody know how it ended. So it's a bit different. It's tougher.
The right, like since I've been riding Sheffield, like letting my bike run and letting it go. I used to be good around small tracks. I used to be able to turn a bike and used to be alright on Wolverhampton, but now I got Sheffield dialed in and like letting my bike run and letting it go and stuff. I find it a lot harder now to go to small tracks and not do the same. But that's just one of the things you gotta put up with. Like I go from Wolverhampton to Sheffield, and hopefully I'm hoping that will make me a better rider, make me grow up. Not in me personal wise, I mean like grow up on my bike. So
I think that applies right up the scale of riders, doesn't it? If you remember when Ty was riding at the British final this year, when they interviewed him beforehand, he said it's going to take me a while to get used to this track again. In his first race, he really was off the pace, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jason Garrity gave him a good run.
Absolutely. And I can understand that's going to happen. But talking of Newcastle, I mean, every time you've ridden that Newcastle track, you've got better on it, haven't you? Yeah,
exactly. Like first time I went there, I think I got like 1 or 2 points, and I guess for another, I think I got like 12, and then I went with Sheffield and I didn't do so well, but I did all right. Just I had a bit accident that day, so just one of the things you gotta just, like I say, you just gotta learn by your mistakes.
So Paco, when you're riding in Italy and in Europe, what kind of events were you riding in?
Well, mainly was Italian championship meeting. Well, we have a championship where it's composed of mainly like last year was 10 rounds and this year is 9 rounds. So we still have 9 meetings of it. It's not like a British final, really. Then I was doing lots of European and world meetings, which like the qualifying rounds of the under 21s and European, which I did for the last few years, and I didn't get into a final until last year. I got into the under 21 European final in Poland with him actually. And this year I lost the place in the under 21 final with Stefan Nielsen, the English rider, on a runoff. And then I was really looking for international open meetings, which gave me the chance of gaining experience on other tracks, because really in the last 4 or 5 years I was only racing in Italy and another few tracks. So like I knew I really wanted to come here, but before I needed a bit of experience and on other tracks. So I was really trying to go around Europe to do some meetings and try different things before coming here. And then I got the call from Sheffield when I was actually in Germany, and we sorted everything out and here I am. So luckily everything went well, and I still go home for the Italian championship meetings, which I will have during the next few weeks, and keeping myself busy and try to do the best for on both of them.
And have you been involved in team racing before?
Not really. Like I've only done the World Cup, which is the only kind of team meetings I've done.
Yeah.
But you don't really race in pairs during the race.
No.
So that's a bit different. Like I found out with already from Heat 1 at Sheffield, and but I think we get sorted out soon. It's just about a few meetings to get everything sorted, and then it's just about a bit of experience, really. But about team spirit, I was trying to make a lot of it in the Italian team when we qualified for Kings Lynn last year, and that helped a lot. And now I'm trying to get into the team now, and surely now that the playoffs are coming, we have to get even more now and try to score as many points as we can.
So is that why you can't team ride them?
Yeah.
Listen, the team spirit's an interesting one because I've been around that Sheffield pits for quite a while now, and this season's probably the best team spirit that I've experienced with the Sheffield team for probably since Shane Parker was around. I think 2011.
Yeah, sometimes it can go well. Like we do have his odd bicker and odd shout like everyone does. Like sometimes you don't look for each other, but that's just things. That's just Speedway. Sometimes you don't look for people.
Yeah.
But it helps you having Jason in, because Jason gets everyone going. Like if someone's say me, Arthur or David's having a bad meeting, Jason will be like, "Alright bro, what's the matter with you?" And he cheers you up, you know what I mean? He gets into your head, and it is very good this season. Sometimes, not always, but I think that's, if we're going to win anything, we need to have good team spirit, because I think most of the teams that win stuff have good team spirits. Like Somerset, they've got Josh Grazoni, Brady, they've got everybody who gets along with each other. So
like Remuro last year.
Yeah,
a really good
Sam
spirit.
Masters, Craig Cook,
Really good team spirit. That's what they want.
I can only talk for the last few weeks actually, because I just came in, but I really found the team really close to each other, and everyone have to remember that the team is not as it was at the start. Nearly the whole team changed it.
Absolutely.
And to get the team spirit with, even me, with new faces in, we go all along with each other, like me and him, and even with David and everybody, all go along with each other. And for my personal experience, I only heard stories about when my father was racing, and he always told me that the two championship that they have won, it wasn't because they were the best team, but they won it just because of the team spirit. Nobody could beat them on the team spirit. So that's what I was telling him the other day. If we really have a big team spirit, we can even win it.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that it can actually gain you points, can't it? Just by
it might only gain an extra 2 points, but say I'm having a bad meeting, or say the track's a bit difficult. Last week the track were a bit grippy outside. David warned me and said, 3 and 4 it is grippy, just to let you know. And something like that, if I went out there, went into grip, and I might have just lost it, but I knew, so I prepared myself, because David told me it's a bit grippier, and things like that does help you. Don't it?
Yeah.
It does, little things,
definitely.
and you do know it. Every time Steady used to come off Heat 1, come straight to me and Arthur and go, the tracks, blah blah blah, and it does help. So
It's still good as well, because the guys been injured as well, like Andre, Steady, Ash. They're still coming every Thursday, support the team, try to help with them experience as well. So I think that's quite good as well.
That's great to see.
Definitely.
You see, when you're riding, some things you don't really know what you're doing wrong, but then Ash, Andre, Steady are there watching you, and they're not riding, they're not in that mode you get in, and they can see what you're doing wrong, and you're telling them actually I'm doing that wrong, and you know
you need experienced people outside the track, which needs to come to you and tell you, well, I think you are doing this wrong and this wrong, but you did this good. So if you have this kind of people, like he was saying, that they were saying, Steady, Ashley, which were riding in this track and they know it, it's good. Like even to me, I just came in. I know Steady for a long time, and he came to me and said, "Well, I think you should drop a tooth or do this or do that."
Yeah.
And he was helping me a lot. Even all the people there in the pits, all of them were so good to me to get me dialed in the team. And then that's what you need. Really.
But that's great because it means the guys are prepared to listen as well to people who are actually giving them advice. Because quite often I've heard in the past where people just don't listen. People give them good advice, but they don't want to know.
Yeah,
you guys all seem to want to learn off each other.
Yeah, some people just nudge it and go, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
So then some of them top riders, even riders that are not even as good as you, you gotta listen to everyone, and you take certain bits in, but then you chuck certain bits out because them little bits do help.
Absolutely.
Like, it might not work for you, but you go and try it, and you're like, "Oh, it does work." But yeah, it might work that way. So
Sometimes it's quite hard to.
depends what rider you are.
Yeah, sometimes it's quite hard to try what people told you to do because at the end of the day, in England, when you're riding for the meeting already. You not like in Europe where you can have practice.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'd have to say, if someone tell you, but yeah, you should try this, you should try that, you have to listen better rather than you. But I would say people is quite a personal setup sport, especially as a bike was, because what is going to work for me, it might not going to work for Paco, or it might not going to work for Josh.
Yeah.
And that's the true story of it. So that's why, as we were saying, it's nice to have them here because what they watch from outside of what we do at the moment, so they can tell you, "Oh look, David or Paco or Josh,
You've got no speed.
I think you got no speed here, your bike's dying there, your engine sounds like this, sounds like that." Then if people come to tell you and say to you, "Look, you have to put this sprocket, this jet," it might not work for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it was good also that we had a practice in Sheffield. I think that was quite a good idea,
Yeah.
But Josh wasn't here because he was riding away somewhere, don't you?
Yeah,
To Kingston, I think.
Kingsland.
But we had a good practice. Arthur had a good practice as well.
Yeah,
Paco
I
had a
did.
good practice.
Well, that's one thing I found out like straight away. Like when you don't have any practice, you come here and you know anything.
Yeah.
You don't. I knew nothing about Sheffield,
Yeah, of
and
course.
to get the practice was good, even for the lines. But when we do the track walk between us and we talk about sprockets, we talk about setup and everything, I'm always a little bit like concerned about my setup because I am really like now with Nicola it's different, but I was like the tallest man in the team.
Yeah.
And the heaviest man on the team, and on
Yeah.
the setup it really changes. So
Yeah.
when he says, I think I go in with this and this, it's much different for me because I'm nearly 20 kilos heavier than him. So
Yeah.
it's completely
we worked
different.
it out. It's
But
like Paco's like 17 kilos more than me.
it's a bit different when you
It's
ride
a
a
big
bike.
difference
Yeah.
on your gearing, your jetting, and setup.
People might not even think about when you, but
Yeah.
when you have like 17, 18 kilos difference, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then so we are trying to talk about the lines and everything,
Yeah, help each
and
other.
to get everything sorted.
Yeah.
But that's the team spirit we were talking about before.
Yeah. And when you've got guests coming in, obviously that could disrupt the team spirit. Has the fact you've had more or less the same few guys coming in helped?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I have to say, the number one guesting is here since nearly 2 months now, so we're gonna get used to it.
Everybody knows Brady. Brady's
Yeah.
Brady.
He's a good rider.
He's a good rider. He's a good laugh. He has a good crack. But like, say they get someone else in
You've had
for
Cookie
next
a few
week.
times, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've had-
like Cookie. Like
Yeah.
we know Cookie and Brady's probably
The
best.
thing is,
Only
we
two.
pretty know each other, from the past, like riding away or home.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, when they're coming for us, well, first thing, they want to score points for them as well because it's a job, it's a part of the job.
Yeah.
But they want as well, to team to win, you know what I mean? So they try their best anyway, you know what I mean? So you can't, what I would say, fall out with someone because
Yeah.
all they try to do is scoring points for
Yeah.
themselves and scoring points for the
Yeah.
team as well. So, no, I think it's, but I think I'd have to say as well, it's lucky for us, we have Brady every Thursday because if you watch the score, we score between 12 and 15
Oh,
points.
he's scoring double figures every
Thursday
week.
night.
Yeah.
And that thing, that cover a bit what Steady was doing because Steady was like, I think, a drop of what, 2 points?
He dropped 1 point in
2
like
point in
7 meters.
7 meetings or something. So, you know what I
Didn't get
mean? It's
beaten
like,
all season, did he?
No.
it's really good to have him with us as well.
When you are a guest, I mean, obviously, David, you guested quite a lot last year.
Yeah.
Does that impact on your on your riding for your home team, or does it help you?
To be fair, I don't really think. But you know, at the end of the day, when you put your helmet on your head and you go on your bike, it's a bit like if you ride for your home team or for a different team. Because as I told you, at the end of the day, what you want to do is scoring points for the team and for yourself as well. So
yeah, but can you do too many meetings? If you're like Brady,
yeah,
and you're guesting for Peterborough, you're guesting for Sheffield.
Yeah.
Could it be on a Friday when you get to Somerset? You think, God, I'm knackered now.
Yeah, it does wear you out after a bit. After maybe not like if you'd have a like 5 meetings in a week, that don't wear you out. It's like say after a month you're like ride miss a day, then it catches up to you. But and like you said earlier, like I take like my guest bookings. So like I didn't like Newcastle, but I took it. I go right. I get me points. I get me 3 points, my average, and anything else after that is a bonus. And I'll take it just like a practice. So when I'm here for Sheffield, I can score more points, get the right setup. But like they said, you wanna. If you don't get points, you're not earning money, and it is hard sometimes. You've got to earn your money.
And then it's part of the ride, but like job of the rider to know which guest bookings take and which not.
Sure.
If like of course, if you have 7 days in a week and you've got 3 guest bookings, surely you don't want to take all of them and you choose which one to take.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think when you get guest booking is because you get guest in a place where you've been scoring some points.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the team's gonna pick you because they like you or they like the colour of your bike. You know what I mean? It's a job at the end of the day as well, So
absolutely. And of course you rode in 3 leagues, so that's similar sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it's hard riding 3 leagues. It's not. It's good though because you get more time on your bike and you do pick a few like things up and it helps you in other ways. But eventually, by end of the season, you're like, I'm glad Speedway's done. If you know what I mean. But then
traveling as well.
You after a week later, you're like, I want to get back on my bike. I'm bored. It's like in winter, sat in your workshop freezing. You're like, I need to get back on my bike.
When you're riding in 3 leagues though, you're going from being the bottom end of one team to the top end of another team. Is that different? Is that a bit of a challenge for you?
Yeah, it's a big step. Like I can get like last week, got 16 here, and then I can go to Wolverhampton and get 3 points. And it is frustrating because then you come back to Sheffield and you're like, I'm not doing so good. I'm doing a bit rubbish. And then, but just one of the things you just gotta. That's what's good, and that's why I've done this year. Because I think. I know it sounds daft, but I think it's making me grow up on my bike, just not. Do you know what I mean? But we just take race by race, eh?
I think we can see that. I mean, you've definitely matured on your bike. I mean, you stay on it more now to the start, and you're a lot faster than you were.
Yeah, I feel faster. I just need to work a few more things out to get a bit quicker, and then hopefully I'll be main body at team.
Yeah, and not just fast. I mean, there was a couple of races a couple of weeks ago when you were going inside, going outside. You got all the lines as well.
Yeah, like this week, it just gave me speed and just like it's like get a rock and go like that with a piece of string, faster, and you get them lines bigger and bigger, and then do you know what I mean though, don't you? And then you can chop it inside. Like when I was following David last week, I felt like I was faster than him, and then David moved out and let me get there because David knew I was there, and that's another thing with like team spirit. David let me through. So we gained same money, same points. So you let me through it because David knew I was faster. So he's just like, go on, I'll let you have it, Josh. So it's just one of the things, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
That's good. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Talking Tigers at the new Barrack Tavern. Thanks to Josh Bates, Paco Castagna and David Bellego. See you soon.